morning, good evening, good afternoon. Love this song.
Our producer told me to move my camera to the left. That's
Jesus.
That's what he said.
Right.
I'm surprised I didn't get a response yet. No response whatsoever.
Folks, welcome to Sack Heads Against Tyranny. It's Wednesday. It's July 18th, the year of our Lord 2018. And you know what? Clint and BZ, we're going to tear through the gristle of today's screaming headlines and rip out the sinewy tendons of truth ensconced within, all from the hoary streets of Sacramento, Fornicalia, exposing the trembling toadies, the sniveling jackanapes, and the fripperous fop-doodles infesting leftist and progressive ant farms nationally. Welcome to the program. Sack Heads CLINT, he be back in shit.
I'd be back. I'd be back in shit. I would much rather be in San Diego.
Well, I think most anybody would.
Although I was working, to be fair. So it's not like I was sunning myself on the beach or anything.
Although you were probably sunning yourself on the beach and everything.
But I wasn't.
But you were working diligently when you weren't otherwise sunning yourself
myself on the beach and working diligently. Correct. At the same time.
Simultaneously. Well, you know, it's possible to go to the beach and work diligently at the same time, at least if nowhere else in your brain. Am I correct?
Yes.
Sure.
Yes, absolutely. Why not?
If only I had a producer. Oh, hey, welcome to Whiskey Dale. Welcome to Melanie Teresa, which is Melanie Colette.
Hello.
Money Talk with Melanie right here on the SHR Media Network. And got to do little promos for that. Oh, one viewer and Mike John Pasqua. First dude here who said hi, people. And so welcome to everybody in chat. Clint, okay, let me tell you the story behind Clint's hand. During this weekend, Sackhead Sean came in here to the studio because he lives about 10 feet from the studio.
And wreaked havoc.
And he moved a lot of stuff around that you really can't see. And one of the things that he moved was the
Clint's camera.
Clint's camera. Now, the other thing that I want to tell everybody is customarily I used to get information from people saying, hey, why is Clint bashing his microphone all the time? So what Sean did is he took Clint's microphone and insulated it from the table, because if you hit the table, then the microphone would go bang.
He saved me from myself, so let's call it what it is.
He did.
Sean saved me from myself, which he has a knack of doing.
So he did. He saved you from yourself. So now if Clint hits the microphone or if he hits the table, now the table, you can't see it over there, but the table is literally insulated from the microphone because the microphone is on its own stand on the carpet.
Yeah, he basically gave me a damn padded room.
And this is the other funny thing.
He put me in a safety cell.
He did. He also padded the two tables. You can't see it again, but there's the black table that you can see in the photograph of the video on the upper right of Clint. Now, there's the black table. Now, adjacent that, but insulated from that table, is a white table, which has some more stuff on it, which is, it could be a third microphone. But Sackhead Shot even insulated that. Now, he insulated the floor. He insulated the table between the tables and insulated the boom, which connects to Sackhead's.
He did.
Sean right
I'm
now.
not sure how.
But he is. He's trying to save you from yourself.
I don't know how I'm feeling about this.
You should be pleased.
I feel like I had.
About you.
It feels like he put a diaper on me.
See, already in chat, people are saying thank you, Sean. No, that's some funny shite.
That's not that funny.
Yeah, it is. Okay, anyway, Beantown Billy is in here as well. Whiskey Dale, great to see everybody in here because the road is back in town. Now, I'm going to do a little foreshadowing, a little teasing, if you were. No, not fluffing, teasing. And that's this, that we have a breaking story that we're going to wait till the end of the show to tell you guys about. And I think it proves a lot of what we may have suspected all along. And when we tell you what the nature of the story is, then you're going to put a couple of things together and say, well, okay, now that you know that information, And you will hear it here because I have not heard it on CNN. I was listening specifically to see if I heard it on CNN tonight before I came here, on Fox before I came here. I don't see it in the Drudge Report. And I'm going to be very interested to see what the reaction is tomorrow in the rest of the media when it, first, number one, to see if this gets any traction at all, which it may or may not. I don't know. And the media just may set this story to complete ignore mode, as it has most everything else involving Trump and the dossier and the FBI, et cetera. Because if it doesn't meet the narrative of Trump needs to be impeached or removed or he's treasonous, John Brennan today said literally that Trump is treasonous, then it's not going to be covered. So I will be very interested tomorrow. That's why you need to listen to the whole show to find out what this story is and what you're probably not going to hear tomorrow. So, Sack Head Sean, while you were down there, I like your stories. Do you have any stories? I want stories. Give me a story. Come on, give me a story. Any story. A good story, because your stories are so damn good. I love your stories.
I have
make
to,
one up. If not, make one up.
No, I'm not going to make one up because I actually have some great stories. Okay.
All right. This is me rubbing my hands. I can't wait. I love these stories.
It's actually I don't know that this one is that fantastic. Like it's okay. So we went to a Padres game.
Oh, cool.
One evening. Right. Beautiful stadium. I like baseball. Although those that know me in the Oakland Athletics flag on the wall there know that I'm an American League guy. So I'm very happy yesterday at the outcome of yesterday's All-Star game. But I enjoy baseball. So I was done in the evening, and I had a couple friends who were down there as well, unrelated, just down there, just happened to be down there at the same time. One buddy of mine was there for a family member's wedding for the weekend.
Oh, nice, very nice.
And another one was just down there because he's a huge Dodger fan, and so he actually goes to the Dodgers and follows them and goes to a couple games. So he saw them in Anaheim when they were playing the Angels, and then he went to the Padres stadium. And so I met up with those guys, and never made it to my seat because we ended up in the bar area, and
okay, all right.
Because why wouldn't it?
Why wouldn't you? I didn't see that coming.
No, but nobody does. So we all met up in the outfield, and it's a great stadium. So the Padres are horrible this year, but the stadium is fantastic. It's actually built into an original, like a historic building. It's all brick. It's a facade of some old structure. I don't even remember what it is. But there's a bar built into there and so forth. And the bullpens are down there, little beach like sand area. Really cool stadium. And we're in the outfield and we're having a couple drinks. I know that's maybe a little bit a little hard to believe that. But the outfielder for the Dodgers was obviously within earshot. And the reason I say that...
Okay, of
us.
Of you?
Of us. I'm not going to say who. I'm going to say of us.
Okay. All right.
And, when you quote inappropriate baseball lines, I'm not saying necessarily inappropriate, but when you quote baseball lines from a movie such as, I don't know, Major League...
Okay.
Or your name happens to be Kiki.
Kiki?
Yeah, outfielder for the Dodgers.
Oh, I thought you were talking about a stripper and throwing rocks at somebody.
But this is kind of along the same path, right? Because you can't have a stripper prostitute name like Kiki and not expect to get...
Couldn't that be a stripper name?
Yes, and not get heckled from people, obnoxious individuals in the outfield who are drinking at a bar. Yeah. I mean, clearly, if your name is Kiki and you're playing outfield, and in the outfield right behind you is a bar, you are going to get catcalled.
What? Listen, it's the proximity effect, right? I mean, they're over there, and you're not that far away.
Yes.
Doesn't that have something to do with it?
Yes. Now, it may sound completely ridiculous, but believe me, to everybody else who was drinking, it was absolutely freaking hilarious.
I'm sure it was.
That's my story.
The San Diego Chargers, the San Diego Padres.
Yes.
They haven't been anything. They haven't done anything really since Dan Fouts was quarterback. Right? Isn't that true?
The Padres are a baseball team. You don't have a quarterback on a baseball team.
No, that's what I'm talking about.
Yes.
No, the Padres haven't gone anywhere since Fouts was around, and that was a
true.
long time.
You're right. I'm sorry. I totally misread that. I did see something interesting last night.
Oh,
so
okay.
I was playing softball last night.
Okay.
Because I actually play softball. Why?
You listen. If people were to look at you, and if you were to stand up, and I think we've had in the past some promo photographs of you and Sean and me, and I'm in shape. Round is a shape, okay,
Right.
And Sean he has big fingers, and you are the guy. If there was ever a guy that was crafted for athletics, it is you. You are a lean, mean, athletic machine, and that's what people need to know about you. So when you say that you're a softball guy, I completely believe it, and that's from the heart. You are built for athletics.
Well, I appreciate that. My athleticism has gone downhill since I turned 30, and then subsequently 40, and every year since then. But I appreciate that.
Hey, listen, you can't have everything.
So yeah, I try though.
I know, and I want to say this. Thank you very much.
You're welcome
for the drink.
You are welcome.
You brought a Diet Coke for me tonight, so I really appreciate it. So a public acknowledgement to you for being so kind to me tonight.
My pleasure. So I was at the field, and guess what flew overhead. Just now,
take an F-22 Raptor.
Take a guess. Now that's a good guess, but I'm actually going to say something cooler than that, and I'll tell you why it's cooler than that.
A drone, an SQ-27 drone.
I say it's cooler than that because you see them very, 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 very rarely. I've only seen one other one in my life, and it was when I was down in Southern California, in San Diego area once again.
Okay.
So I'm going to ask you one more time. Go ahead and guess.
Okay.
Yes.
I think I have it. You saw, flying into the airport, you saw an Airbus A380.
Ooh, good guess. No. But it is.
I'm pretty much kind of out of guesses.
It is a good guess.
Point.
I'll give you one hint. It is also a band name.
A band name.
And it's not the B-52s.
You saw little insects. You saw beetles.
No, it's an aircraft.
An aircraft.
Google band names of aircraft. And it wasn't a Jefferson airplane. Because I knew that was going to be.
Yeah. Okay, you beat me to it.
I saw you too.
Yeah, I know. Get out of my head.
I saw you too.
Okay. Did you really?
I did.
Wow. Okay. Now,
actually flying a U-2 in a northerly direction.
Okay. Now, that's interesting because the U-2s, which are actually not U-2s anymore, they're called TR-1s or TR-2s. It's a new generation of those aircraft from Lockheed Martin. And they're actually now wider, and their wingtips are wider. Excuse me, their fuselage is longer, and their air tips their wingspan is wider than before. But
I was able to get a pretty good measurement at the altitude it was flying, and it was a U-2. It was not a new one. It was
Beale Air Force Base.
Did you even miss that? You missed that, right?
No, you said it flew over.
You did. So I was able to get a measurement based on.
You're checking on me, aren't you? You're checking to see if I'm listening.
Yes.
No, this was a test. This wasn't a story. This was a test.
This is a story.
It was a test to see if I was listening.
It's a story.
Be honest.
Were they flying into Beale?
No, the TR-1s are out of Beale in California. That's the base for the TR-1s.
Well, that would describe why it was heading in a northerly direction. I've never seen one. And what's interesting is a couple weeks ago, I actually saw a formation of 3 Ospreys, the aircraft, not the bird.
I have not seen any of those live.
Flying as well.
But, however, everybody should know that there's a big Marine base down there.
No, I saw these adherents up here.
Lindbergh, by the way, is right next to. I can't think of the name of the airport in San Diego that you fly into. Oh, by the way, I got to ask you this question.
Yes.
Did you drive to San Diego or
Negative.
did you fly?
No,
you
I
fly.
flew.
Okay. Now, for people who have never flown into Lindbergh Field, that's what it's called, Lindbergh Field. For people who have never flown into San Diego, it's an airport that most commercial pilots fucking hate. And the reason they do that is when you land east to west. Mm-hmm. And at the end of west is, the Pacific Ocean. However, as you're making your approach, you come in over the Pacific Ocean, come around, make your final leg and your base leg, and then as you come into and approach Lindbergh, you approach at an extremely steep angle as you're coming in. And
so much fun.
If you're sitting on the left side of the plane, because if you fly to San Diego, you must make sure that you always sit to the left side of the plane. As you come in, at one point, you are looking eye to eye with all these people in office buildings as they're coming in, and they're watching you land.
Yes.
And your plane is not more than, 500 or 600 feet from office buildings as these people are working. And for people who have never flown into Lindbergh before, that's kind of frightening. For me, I love it. I love the hell out of that.
It's great. Now I know it. I know people are probably saying, "Oh, yeah, right. You're exaggerating." Let me assure you that is no exaggeration.
That is not an exaggeration.
It is. Yeah. It is California's equivalent to that beach where people. Stand.
St.
Martin. Yeah. It's awesome. And another really cool thing is if the Pacific Fleet is in, they have carriers.
Sure.
There all the time, and
the Reagan is down there. I think the Nimitz was. I'm not sure if it is.
Now I've seen the Reagan there. I've seen I'm going to think of it.
Oh, the Midway is there.
The Roosevelt, the museum ship, the Midway.
The Midway is there. That's a great tour.
But I've actually seen. So it's funny when I was down there one time when we were still doing Sack Heads, there were 3 aircraft carriers, maybe 4. That were in dock, and this is during the time when there was shit kicking off in the Middle East and Obama was in office. And I actually took a picture and sent it to Sean and said something like, "Hey, found our carriers," because there was like a news story out or something like, "Hey, where's the United States Navy?" or something. I was like, "Found them," and I sent it to him.
The next thing you know is somebody's going knocking on your door. Like, "Did you send those pictures?"
Yeah, you mean from that we're taken from a public place? Yes,
Right.
I did. But anyways, great trip. That's my one story I have. It was a heckling story, which is probably a lot more fun after you've had several drinks. Other people have had several drinks as well.
The appreciation of the story, I'm sure, is geometric with the amount of alcohol and the percentage of alcohol consumed as concomitant with that particular given story.
Yes, 100%.
So
I need to move this. I need to move this camera. It's bugging me.
Okay, now
I'm gonna turn it off.
Why is that? Oh, don't turn it off.
No, I'm gonna put blue tape over it. I won't turn it off.
Come on.
Yeah, no, I don't like it.
No, people.
It's like this weird thing staring at me, like from the side.
Is it like it? Now those cameras do kind of look like Cobras because they're all flared out on the side.
A little bit, yeah. It's kind of making me nervous.
So, but the Bob. You also notice you said the Bobcat made you nervous. So, did you notice that we moved the Bobcat further away and now it's completely up against the wall?
I do, but it's kind of behind my shoulder, so it's like it's sneaking up on me.
So you won't feel the need to be compelled to shoot the Bobcat.
That's not true because I still know it's there.
You still feel compelled.
I'll tell you what makes it a little more palpable is the glasses and nose.
Yeah, no, that is some funny shit. I'm gonna have to say that.
Damn. And the fact that Donald Trump's right there, and I know he's got my back.
Well, he's right there, and his left hand could easily reach out and just slap the Bobcat if the Bobcat gets out of order.
Which I know he would do.
He could. Mike, again, is in chat. Whiskey Dale is in chat. Welcome. Traveling Cynic is in chat. And, of course, we have Beantown Billy in chat. There's almost so much stuff to talk about. Where shall we begin?
I will take Trump-Russia for 100.
Okay. All right. Hit it.
See what I did there?
I do. And that's in reference to 100 years of failed communism, isn't it?
It is.
Yeah, 100 years of failed communism and 100 million people dead because of failed communism. What a story.
And now we're going to try it here with people running for office here in the United States. But
sure,
that's another story a little bit later on.
But you digress.
I do. I digress. So, yeah, Trump and his summit with Putin. Interesting. The backlash, of course, is predictable.
Yeah, you really should have and did see all of that stuff coming.
But let me ask you a question.
Yes, sir.
And I know there are a big to-do both sides of the aisle about the fact that he doesn't trust his alphabet agencies.
Right.
And I'm not defending the guy per se, although it's going to come out that way. But I am going to make a legitimate point on this. I do think it was the wrong thing to say in that setting, for sure.
Okay. I don't disagree.
However.
And when Trump fucks up, we should call him on it.
No, absolutely, 100%. However, the intelligence community, specifically the FBI, has not done much for themselves in terms of making themselves believable to the President of the United States. Can we agree on that?
In spades. We can agree upon that.
Okay.
Times 20, times 100, etc.
Okay.
I've written numerous times about what I think for the FBI. I used to work for the dudes. And I still talk to the dudes. As an aside, this you might find interesting. The culture of the FBI with the entrance of Christopher Wray essentially has not changed. Mm-hmm. So if anybody thinks that the culture of the FBI is going to magnificently just go 180 and it'll be nothing but altruism central over in D.C. or at the WMFO, either one, that's not going to happen. Because the other thing is that most of the FBI agents that I speak to have also said that the culture of the FBI is such that there are many, many agents who want to talk. But the culture is such that any whistleblower essentially gets shot in the head. And it's it is career ending. And if you ever wanted to go to your OPR, your OP, which is the Office of Preference, because first thing when you're an FBI agent, you're going to get sent to a shithole somewhere. It'll be New York or Detroit,
California,
or California now these days. But if you're a whistleblower, you're going to get shot in the head, and you can figure on absolutely. You'll be sweeping up daisies in Frog Dick, North Dakota.
That? How is that? It's illegal
for
retribution.
Of course it is.
Of course it is.
But
that would never
the greatest
happen.
law enforcement agency
in
the history of history
yes.
is still in that mindset. It is a culture that is ingrained in that mindset. So what I've discovered is, and DC is not listening, a number of the agents that I have spoken to have said that a number of other agents that know things, they're dying to be subpoenaed. They want to be subpoenaed. Because if they're not otherwise subpoenaed and they say something, the culture of the FBI has not changed from Comey. And it is a career-ending event. And so you have to weigh, in any job, you have to weigh, I need a pension, I need food, I need survival, I need a roof over my head, I need to pay for my wife, my husband, I need to pay for my cat, my bobcat, I need to pay for my dentures, whatever the hell it is. It could potentially be a career-ending event, and or, depending upon the mindset, and we know what the current mindset of the FBI is. I mean, you could find yourself with OPR knocking on your door for the exact same wrong instances. So, you're right about the FBI. It doesn't stop there, though.
Stop putting the camera on me while I'm trying to text.
Okay. Right.
I have my day job contacting me right now.
Okay. Well, I'll tell. While you're doing that, I'll tell people about a story of $400,000.
The camera's on me again. But you need to stop this.
All right. See? Now look.
Thank you.
By the way, what you can't see, folks, is there is a monitor in the studio so that Sack Heads CLINT up here can see what's on video. So from his seat, he can see what we're seeing. So he knows if I've got the camera on him or not. Let me.
I would. So I would like to bring that point up though about the fact that.
Okay. Are you okay now?
Trump. No. I'm not. I'm multitasking like a madman right now.
Okay, so no camera on you.
No camera on me.
Okay.
Until after the break.
Okay.
But right. I think that I think that he's frustrated with these alphabet agencies because he knows there are people that are trying to backdoor him in the government. Obviously, I mean, you look at that douchebag Stroke-It or whatever the hell his name is.
Right.
Peter Stroker. I don't know what's his name.
But it's funny because Dan Bongino calls him Stroke.
Yeah.
And most of the people in the media call him Strock.
Uh-huh.
But Dan Bongino calls him Agent Stroke. Doesn't that remind you of a Queen song?
Yes, it does.
It does.
Actually, Billy Squier. Wasn't that a Billy Squier?
Yeah, that's
Billy
right.
Squier song.
Stroke me. Do.
Yes.
Maybe that's the song I'm thinking of. Maybe I made a misattribution to it. It really should have gone to not Queen, but to the other group. Vladimir Putin accused this guy, by the way, this is an interesting story that came out of the meeting with Putin. Putin basically ended up accusing Putin, he drops a bomb at the Helsinki presser, and he says U.S. intelligence helped to move $400,000 to the Hillary campaign. And, of course, that was roundly ignored. He accused this guy named Bill Browder of donating $400,000 to the Hillary campaign. So we're okay? Okay. All right, there we go. We've got about another 2 minutes to the bottom of the hour, and I think maybe I can get this out before the last 2 minutes. Putin offered permitting officials in the U.S., including Mueller, to Russia to assist in their investigation of the supposed Trump-Russia collusion. And then Putin ended up dropping this bomb where the U.S. could reciprocate. And I think Putin's literal translated quote was, for instance, we can bring up Mr. Browder in this particular case. Business associates of Mr. Browder have earned over $1.5 billion in Russia and never paid any taxes in Russia or the United States, and yet the money escaped the country. They were transferred to the United States. They sent a huge amount of money, $400,000. The mistranslation was $400 million, but it turned out to be $400,000. That was the proper quote, as a contribution to the campaign of Hillary Rodham Clinton. So again, more information comes out that tends to vindicate Trump, but this information doesn't get out, and that is purposeful, and that is, again, in a continuing series of stories why people don't trust the American media right now.
And nor should they.
No, they have done nothing deserving of any accolades.
They really haven't. Look, I am.
There's a handful that do.
I am completely okay with opinion shows. If Hannity, for example, or any show where there was like Alan Combs, he has an agenda, he has a point. It's not a news show. He's a pundit. He's there to give an opinion. They exist on the right and they exist on the left. I have no issue with that.
As long as you label it appropriately.
Yes, as long as you label it appropriately. If you are an opinion show, we here at Sack Heads, at Sack Heads Against Tyranny, we are an opinion show.
We're not a news show.
We are not a news show.
You want hard news? You're going to have to choose that yourself. You're going to have to make your own adult decisions as to your news sources, but consider everything.
Absolutely. We do talk about news from the day, but we certainly have an opinion. And we make our opinion known. We back our opinions up with information and facts. And you do your own research, make up your own mind. We make
attributions.
Right? But you have these news outlets, CNN, classic example, MSNBC, classic example, and even Fox to some extent. Can you name one news program on any of those networks where there's not a bias, that is literally just presenting the facts?
That's just hard news. I don't think that really exists anymore in the media. The closest that I can say that Fox, for example, comes to that, and I can't even include any of the other cable shows.
No, none.
ABC, CBS, NBC.
Maybe One American News, maybe.
Perhaps, and I really am not all that totally familiar with them. But the closest guy or gal on Fox that comes to a news show would be Brett Baer.
Yes, agreed. Because he moderates.
He moderates, and he I think he does his level best to ensure that both sides go in there, and he'll present news up front.
Correct. And Wallace also. He seems to be pretty fair, Chris Wallace, in his interviews. At least the interviews I've seen.
Yes, I'll have to go you on that one too. But he's only on Fox News Sunday, I think.
Yes, but he's been pretty consistent with whoever he's interviewing. He asks some tough questions.
He does, and tough questions should be answered.
Absolutely, but there is no just news source anymore. You're not going to pick up a newspaper. I mean, look at that rag, the Sacramento Bee.
We're going to have to go to a break, but I have information about the Sacramento Bee when we come back.
I can't wait to hear it.
And, folks, you're listening to the Sack Heads Against Tyranny at Sack Heads CLINT and Sack Heads BZ right here on the SHR Media Network.
Conservative media done right. You're listening to the SHR Media Network.
Hey, it's Sean from the Sack Heads radio show. Also one of the owners here at the SHR Media Network. Are you opinionated? Have you ever wanted to do your own show? Have you ever heard somebody like the Sack Heads and go, yeah, I could probably do that better? Well, now's your chance. Send me a 5-minute clip at sackheadsradio@gmail.com, and maybe you can be part of the SHR broadcasting team. sackheadsradio@gmail.com.
Broadcasting behind enemy lines in occupied California, a mere 2 miles from the state capital, the bloviating Zeppelin's Berserk Bobcat Saloon radio show can be heard every Tuesday and Thursday night at 8 p.m. Pacific and 11 p.m. Eastern. Only on the SHR Media Network. Go to shrmedia.com to listen. You can also watch on the SHR Media Facebook page and the SHR Media YouTube channel. No goldfish were abused in the making of this ad.
When dirty politicians, shadow governments, and deceptive Islam blind the world with fake stream media smoke, their only fear is one man with a cane. I'm Dave Milner. Join me through shrmedia.com, highplains.talkradio.com, and the Western Free Radio Network at Spreaker, YouTube, and iTunes for a different perspective weekly on the Unpleasant Blind Guy. And catch me on Jeff Mitchell's EDL Radio on blogtalkradio.com. There's
no surrender ever.
Because truth is not always pleasant.
Hey guys, it's Sack Head CLINT. I'm excited to tell you about a brand new show here on the SHR Media Network. I'm teaming up with the one and only, all-powerful, the bloviating Zeppelin, sitting here to my left, bringing to you a fresh new show here on the network. It's Against Tyranny. And we'll be picking up where the Sack Heads left off. Excited to be with you, sir.
Sack Heads Against Tyranny.
We're going to chat. We're going to chat Wednesday nights.
S-H-A-T.
Sack Heads Against Tyranny.
Wednesday night, 11 p.m. Oh, it's the same time, right? 11 p.m. Eastern, 8 p.m. Pacific.
Same Sack time, same Sack channel.
Yep. shrmedia.com.
See what I did there?
It's your business diva here, Melanie Collette. I am inviting you to a front row seat as I discuss some of the most intriguing details of wealth and finance with today's movers and shakers in the world of business. Listen in and discover financial truths on a global, domestic, and household scale. Uncover topics that will impact your wallet today and in the future. Money Talk with Melanie airs Monday through Friday, 5 p.m. East, 2 p.m. West, right here on SHR Media and High Plains Pundit Talk Radio. You can't afford to miss it.
Human by race, Christian by faith, American by nationality, and conservative by choice. Reverend Ralph J. Chittum Sr. is the right guy on SHR Media from 8:05 to 9 p.m. Monday through Friday. And if on the rare occasion I am ever wrong, I will still always be right. The right guy on SHR Media.
Hey, this is Michael Wright.
And I'm Shannon Wright.
Join us for The Right Way with Shannon and Mike, Monday through Thursday from 7 to 9 a.m. right on SHR Media.
Why are they joining us?
For fun things like sports, politics.
Oh, maybe some news and entertainment?
And all kinds of other things.
Money and recipes and events, all kinds of stuff.
Yeah, so join us Monday through Thursday, 7 to 9 a.m. here on shrmedia.com.
Hey, BZ. So the plan's working. You got rid of Sacco. Sean is now stepping away.
I never even saw him.
And I know, and insidious. You know, we talked about this for, for the last 3 years. And finally coming to fruition.
You know I'm still in the room, right?
It's almost like he's here still. Did you hear that?
Yeah, it's kind of...
It's amazing. It's kind of
at you.
It's kind of eerie.
Kind of a poltergeist.
Like a poltergeisty thing.
Yeah, Sack Heads Against Tyranny.
You're listening to the SHR Media Network.
Well, we are back. The first half hour went, boom, just like that. We're in the second half hour. A jaunty tune. And again, thanks to everybody in chat, Beantown Billy, Traveling, Cynic, Whiskey Dale, Mike, John, And I'm missing now for 2 days straight, almost 3 days straight. I wonder where Simone is, and no one seems to be telling me. Whiskey Dale in chat says, Bigfoot is real. Of course, Bigfoot is real. And Whiskey Dale also said, my brother was drinking Trump wine in the Trump Tower today. Very interesting. We were talking about the Sacramento Bee before we went into the break, and one of the things I wanted to say, Sacramento Bee has been the major newspaper in Sacramento for quite some time, and it competed for a while against the Sacramento Union. The Sacramento Union had a lot of history to it because in the 1800s, Mark Twain used to write for the Sacramento Union here in Sacramento, live and direct, and then they kind of went under, and the Sacramento Bee, because this is more of a leftist town than it is a rightist town, because it's in California after all, Fornicalia. And now the Sacramento Bee is bemoaning its fate, saying, if you can just give us a couple of $100,000, we'll continue. And when I told you that during the break, well, what was your response, Sack Heads CLINT?
I said good. I said good. They need to fucking go under.
And apparently they're not that terribly far away from doing exactly that. So I don't know what kind of newspapers you guys have in your communities. I don't know the status of your newspapers, if they lean to the left. I mean, the Sacramento Bee is so... You could look at all of the headlines for each article in the Sacramento Bee, and they would all be of a clear leftist bent, period, end of statement. And it's so biased, it's boring.
Yes.
And I think that's one of the reasons that people just aren't reading it anymore, and they're not paying for it. And so why should they? It's sad that a newspaper is going to go under, but they brought it upon themselves, and they shot themselves first in the foot, and now they're not far from shooting themselves in the head. And if the leftist Sacramento Bee goes under... Nature abhors a vacuum. There will be a vacuum. It will be filled. I don't know with what or in what fashion, whether it'll go simply on the internet. I don't know.
So, interesting. We have a new announcement to make here in Sacramento. We're launching the SHR Media newspaper.
I wasn't aware of that.
That's because we're not. But how great would that be?
The SHR newspaper.
Would that be great?
Oh, God. Listen,
in Sacramento.
I'd be one of the first subscribers.
Oh, you'd be the editor-in-chief.
Would you do that for me? You'd let me be the editor-in-chief?
You already have the paperwork in for the... You created the position, and you're the only one who's applied.
Oh. Okay.
Yes.
I wasn't aware of that, but hey, there's a lot of stuff in life that I'm not aware of.
I have your paperwork right here.
Oh, okay.
You hand-wrote it on a McDonald's napkin.
That's the only paperwork that anybody in California apparently has.
Yes.
No one else has any paperwork.
No, and they're going to be able to vote soon in San Francisco.
Yeah, isn't that great? In case, hey, do you want to go to that right now? Because in case,
yes, absolutely,
are interested. And I had some audio cuts that we can go back to, but that's fine. That's why God created the internet and all sorts of things like that. But the let's see if I can find it here. San Francisco
is a shithole.
Has decided
to fall into the ocean.
It's not far from falling in the ocean.
San Francisco has decided
that they're going
to vote Republican because their city is so full of shit.
Right. San Francisco has decided that they're going to allow illegals to vote in school elections. And when I saw that, the first thing I thought was, okay, they've drawn the line. It's definitely here. And if you're not Hispanic or you don't have a higher melanin count than Caucasoids, it's time for you to leave the state. And it's time for you to take all your money with you because you do not factor in anything anymore. And you brought up a very interesting point earlier today. The leftists have now decided that Dianne Feinstein, originally from San Francisco, is now insufficiently left for the left. And let's see, who's running against her, Sack Heads CLINT?
Kevin Well, you want the real name or the name he changed it to?
That's the point. That's the point. Now, he's known in the press as Kevin De Leon, right?
Yes.
Now, I got to ask you, folks, De Leon, D-E, De Leon. Doesn't that sound Mexican to you? Hispanic,
Yes.
Something like that? Well, Sack Heads CLINT, tell him the truth now. I know. You're not going to hear this on any other show but ours.
He changed his name to run for office.
Exactly.
I believe his real name is Leon.
Yes.
Or,
last name.
Or Leon. Or Leon. He changed his name to De Leon, I believe, in order to get the Hispanic vote.
Sure. And in any other reality, that would be called pandering, wouldn't it?
Yes.
Yeah, it would. Funny how that works out.
Yes.
So then now we know what San Francisco thinks of people that aren't of a higher melanin count and or if you're not illegal. So what's the future of anyone in California who isn't Mexican or black or some other ethnicity and predominantly if you can't speak English? If you can't speak English, you are more welcome in the state of California than anywhere else. With this caveat, if you happen to be black, you're not quite as welcome in this state. You used to be a highly valued citizen for your vote.
Yes. Hang on a second.
Okay.
Put the camera on me.
Okay. All right. Here we go.
Folks, and this is not a joke, I had a close family member, put in for a DNA test.
Okay.
And it came back that family member is 2% black, which means I am 1% black. Ladies and gentlemen.
Now, why? Wait a minute.
Hang on a second.
Why are you deluded?
Hang on a second. Because it was apparent.
Okay.
So I am proud to be African American. Black Lives Matter.
Okay.
However, I don't believe in all of their messaging because I think all lives matter. And I think because of my status as an African American, because I think there is the one drop rule, if I remember correctly, right? One drop rule,
right?
Which is 1%. That's clearly more than just one drop.
Well, look who it works for. It works for Rachel Dolezal,
Elizabeth Warren.
Yep. So listen, if it works for them, why shouldn't it work for you?
And SHR here, we are meeting our goals of affirmative action. So I just kind of want to point that out.
Okay.
To everybody. So,
as well you should.
Yeah, and if you can tell, I'm sure by looking at me that my melatonin, whatever the hell that count is,
right.
is pretty up there.
Oh yeah, most def.
So I hope you don't discriminate against me now, BZ, is what I'm saying, because I know you're an old retired cop, and I know how you cops are.
Yeah. Well, listen, come on, be honest.
Yes, you look like you're deep in thought over there.
I'm trying to figure out where I hid certain stories.
I think maybe now you just don't want to talk to me anymore since I had that revelation.
No, I hid some stories here somewhere, and I'm trying to figure out.
Well, I want to talk about
where it is that I put them.
Since we're talking about crazy California and De Leon and by the way, Feinstein is no longer crazy enough for California.
No. Oh, God, no.
Yeah. Kevin De Leon gets the... And what's funny is he's going to lose, I believe. Feinstein still has the backing. She won the primary significantly, if I'm not mistaken. Did she not?
I believe so. I don't keep track of that stuff, but I think statistically you are correct.
60-something% of the vote, and the party is still not going to give her the nomination. A couple things with that. Number one, I think Dianne Feinstein, she potentially could destroy the Democratic Party here in California.
Wait! Oh boy!
She's very powerful.
Oh boy! Hold that thought. I want to hear what you're saying about that. How do you think that Dianne Feinstein could destroy the Democrat Party? Because De Leon, he's got a lot of grease behind him.
He does, but he has a lot of progressive grease behind him, right?
Okay, so
Dianne Feinstein has some old blood, old California Democrat behind her, and she has a lot of power. And I think that if the Democratic Party in California isn't careful, and you piss off all of the old blood Democrats, I don't think that they're established enough to survive that fight. Whether the old blood Democrats want to spin off and call themselves something else, or cut off their nose to spite their face in order to crush those little upstarts, you're kind of seeing now. It was interesting. Obama gets elected, and you have the Tea Party movement, right? You have Donald Trump get elected, and now you have this ultra-left, progressive communist wing of the party now taking it. So
yeah, but even then, there's a really big schism brewing in the Democrats.
There is, and this is where I'm going with this. At least the Tea Party conservatives still had basic Republican principles to them, right? Like that they weren't necessarily the old guard Republicans, because they were party over country, I believe, many of them. And the Tea Party group, they were not. They were country over party, in my view. At least that's what I've seen.
Yes, that's what they started out to be.
But yeah, agreed. But they still have. They were still Republicans. They held the core Republican belief systems, the core Republican values, right? Smaller government, lower taxes, more personal freedoms and liberties, blah, blah, blah. The what's happening on the left right now is not. I mean, for Dianne Feinstein, the older guard Democrats, as crazy as Feinstein is, the older guard Democrats, I think in many cases it's party over country. However, they weren't outright communists or outright socialists. And you have this movement within the Democratic Party right now where it is literally in a fight for its identity. Or is it going to be the Democratic Party, or is it going to be a socialist party? And that's really what it's down to. Look,
that is starting to become a huge question.
Look, and you look at who is on the ballot here in California. Gavin Newsom. That guy's farther left than Jerry Brown.
Oh my God, by far. He will be the next governor.
Yes.
He will be.
Kevin, well, stand by, maybe, right? Kevin De Leon. He is uber progressive. He is very, very big government, more so than the Democratic Party. I believe he has socialistic views. I believe he is a socialist. I believe that he would be perfectly okay turning parts of California back over to Mexico. That's just a personal belief of mine.
As sad as it is to say, and he or you correct me, has he publicly said that? I don't think he has, but with this push on to socialism, I wouldn't be surprised if it's time we need to relinquish some portions of the United States because they were taken by force unlawfully against fill in the blank.
Yeah, I don't think he said that publicly. I just
no.
Just looking.
But you're saying in his head, he's thinking,
look,
hey, it's time for that.
Yeah, look, you look at his policies with dealing with Mexico and so forth, and just he that guy is so far out in left field. I mean, come on, he'd change his name to get a minority vote, and nobody's talking. That's okay. Can you imagine if a Republican did that?
Well,
could you imagine?
No. Again, with all the things that occur on one side and not the other, Beezy's reversal rule or axiom is, what if you just reversed the roles and filled in, I don't know, Catholic for Islam, Republican for Democrat, etc., and would that be equally fair?
No.
And the answer is, in almost all cases, unequivocally, no.
No, God, could you imagine if they were having hearings about meddling in the election for Obama? Oh my God, you'd be a racist. You'd be
that'd be the end of it.
That would be the end of it. So, look, and I have been the first one to say, and I say we, but I don't want to speak for you, but we've had these conversations, and I know Sean has also. If Trump did work with the Russians to undermine our electoral system and the election here in the United States, then he needs to be held to answer for that.
Right, and
that's any politician.
Let's hear about it, though. Let's see the evidence.
Yes, that is something that is so important. You cannot have a man like that remain in office for any amount. I don't care if the election, if the how long it takes the investigation to go on. Right? If there is evidence right now that the president of the United States used a foreign power in order to to manipulate the electoral system and steal an election with the help of a foreign power, oh God, absolutely, that guy should be out. And if that's the case, then Trump needs to be out. I've said that all along, but there's no evidence here. And I think the fact that this probe has gone on for so long, we're 2 years into this presidency.
See, that's the point.
They've
that's
allowed
the
him
big
to
point that you just made.
I mean, come on. Look, my point. I'm kind of getting off topic here. California is nuts. California is off the rails, and I think that this war in the Democratic Party right now, I don't think it can be overstated enough. Look at the outward socialist who was elected in New York or won the primary in New York.
Right, and I've got an audio cut coming up with her.
I know we'll get to her. Look at Bernie Sanders, a socialist, almost won and should have won the Democratic nomination. Look, there is not only in the Democratic Party, but
right, if it interference from Hillary Clinton
in the country, there is a pull for the soul of this country. Are we going to be a socialist nation, or are we going to be a republic? Look, we've talked about how Article 4, Section 4 makes it illegal for a socialist government. It's illegal. It is unconstitutional for a socialist government to exist.
But that's where the push is right now. That's where the push is.
It is. And ladies and gentlemen, before this election, I talked ad nauseum, as did BZ, as did Sean, about the importance of a Trump presidency, even against the never-Trumpers, because of the Supreme Court. Because where are these issues going to be settled? They're going to be settled in the Supreme Court. And I know we're kind of rolling into Kavanaugh right now, but
that's
make
that's okay.
Make no mistake that we're seeing this pull in the Democratic Party right now, and I just kind of talked around in a circle how it differs from the Tea Party movement. Although the circumstances are kind of interesting, what brought these quote unquote splits up. But there is a true fight here in America, and California. I know I keep kind of coming back to it. The California Supreme Court today. Was it today they ruled or yesterday they ruled?
It was yesterday.
They ruled that. So we've talked about how there's a ballot measure to split California into 3 states. If you look at the makeup, I still think it would have been 2 Democrat states to one Republican state.
I happen to have this right now, and I'm looking. I wish I had the ability to put this graphic up on the screen right now, but I'm going to describe the 3 proposed states, and then I'd like your comments, Clint, about the actual leanings, the political leanings of each one of these designated states.
Sure.
Northern California, which would potentially have a population of 13.3 million, would also include Sacramento, San Jose, Fremont, Oakland, and San Francisco, the greatest population density centers of leftists.
Correct.
So if anybody thinks that Northern California is going to go red, bullshit. It ain't going to go red.
They would if you cut out the San Francisco Bay Area.
But that's where the
do it.
That's where the population centers are, and that's my point, sir.
Yes.
Is that when you look at how they wanted to pull these states apart, when you examine it, you find out that all they're doing
they're adding
this is
Democrat
a move.
senators.
This is a move. Now, California is a little strip along the coast, and that would include Long Beach, Los Angeles, Glendale, Santa Clara, and Palmdale. Those are, again, Democrat leftist centers, major population centers. Hell, Los Angeles, in and of itself, kicks the shit out of everything else in California, so that would remain incredibly blue.
Correct. So let's take right now. California has 2 Democratic senators. Correct. So with two California states, you now have.
Wait. You're getting it. You are on it, sir.
You now
That's
have
the point.
4 Democratic senators. Yeah. So now go ahead.
And now in Southern California, the population is 13.9 million. But again, you have Santa Ana, Fresno, Anaheim, and San Diego. Those are not right-wing leaning areas. And then you have it's got the greatest area of all in terms of
land,
square miles. But again, this is leftist central here, and the greatest population areas in that Southern California proposed state, they all lean left, and they're all blue.
Now, Orange County is red. Orange County, California is red.
Yeah, but if you go into the cities,
yes,
in Orange County,
Anaheim has some red. They tend to be more fiscally conservative. In Anaheim, they have Disney there, big power company. I mean, they tend to be a little more fiscally conservative. But that state, that state that you mentioned, is the only one that Republicans might have a chance at.
And I would submit this to you: the might is maybe a 10% might, with about 90% chance of keeping the leftists. So then you wrap it up for us, because we got about another minute before the break. If they split into 3 separate states, then what would you have, Sack Heads CLINT?
Probably 6 Democratic senators.
Thank you very much. You just made the point.
Up from 2. Now, what's interesting, though, is the California Supreme Court said that no, the 3-state initiative is off the ballot. Even though it went through the ballot measures and is legal to change the Constitution, they basically said, well, no, that's too big of a change for the people to make themselves. I have issue with that. Not that I'm happy that this measure is stopped, because I don't think the way but I don't believe the California Supreme Court can make that call.
The article says the state Supreme Court decided Wednesday California will remain intact geographically, at least for now, while it decides whether the voters can consider a proposal to divide the Golden State into 3 new states. Now, on the board, we have a board of topics, etc. And after this particular topic, I wrote stupid leftists, because essentially they just shot themselves in the foot, where they could have easily, in my opinion, had a total of 6 senators from this area, and now they're just keeping themselves at 2.
Well, here's what I would. So a couple things, right? Number one, so we divide it into 3 states, but maybe the voters want to carve it out. So maybe somebody would find a way, if they allow this to pass and they know this one's going to fail, maybe they kill this one and they let another one come on board, because they think maybe the Republicans will try and reword something or work something that may pass at some point. Now, I do want to say one thing real quick on this.
Okay.
The state of Jefferson. This is something that California has been in the works. I think pre-World War II. And then it kind of gains steam again.
And that crosses states.
It does. It crosses states, but they want to carve out. It's actually a pretty conservative state, Jefferson, if you look at the areas in California that it wants to take. Why not now just have that group petition Congress?
They don't have enough political power, I can tell you that right now. You see state of Jefferson stuff up where I live, up in the mountains in the Sierra Nevadas, but the state of Jefferson also would encompass some points of southern Oregon as well.
But a conservative area.
Generally, because they've had to scrape to get work.
Yes,
their industries have left.
Now, here's why Congress should entertain that. The California Supreme Court has stopped it, but what an opportunity to get 2 red senators.
Yeah, not many of those left in Oregon.
There's not, because here's the thing: that when they're talking about splitting California into 3 states, there's also talk about admitting Puerto Rico, which there's 2 more Democratic.
Sure. So if they'd let this go, my God, you could have had. Could have had 6, and then potentially you could have had 8.
6 to 8.
Now, before we go, and we're a little bit late for the break, I want to make this one final point. This is what the court said. This was their rationale. And they said the court said it usually allows ballot measures to go to the voters before considering constitutional challenges. But in this case, the 6 California Supreme Court justices said, quote, significant questions regarding the proposition's validity and the, quote, potential harm of allowing a public vote before these questions are resolved outweigh the potential harm in delaying the proposition to a future election. So one final note, Sack Heads CLINT, what do you think they're saying?
I think they're saying they know it has no way of passing right now, so they're going to wait until they get an idea if it has a better chance of passing, rather than just killing it outright.
Okay. When we come back, we've got so much more stuff to talk about. We've got Kavanaugh to talk about. We've got more Democrats to talk about. I've got some cuts about who was really behind all this Russian collusion anyway. So, folks, don't come back.
Don't come back.
Or, excuse me,
Don't
back.
come back.
Come back.
Come back.
My God, what is he saying?
I don't know.
Conservative media done right. You're listening to the SHR Media Network.
Hey, it's Sean from the Sack Heads radio show. Also one of the owners here at the SHR Media Network. Are you opinionated? Have you ever wanted to do your own show? Have you ever heard somebody like the Sack Heads and go, yeah, I could probably do that better? Well, now's your chance. Send me a 5-minute clip at sackheadsradio@gmail.com, and maybe you can be part of the SHR broadcasting team. sackheadsradio@gmail.com.
Broadcasting behind enemy lines in occupied California, a mere 2 miles from the state capital, the bloviating Zeppelin's Berserk Bobcat Saloon Radio Show can be heard every Tuesday and Thursday night at 8 p.m. Pacific and 11 p.m. Eastern. Only on the SHR Media Network. Go to shrmedia.com to listen. You can also watch on the SHR Media Facebook page and the SHR Media YouTube channel. No goldfish were abused in the making of this ad.
When dirty politicians, shadow governments, and deceptive Islam blind the world with fake stream media smoke, their only fear is one man with a cane. I'm Dave Milner. Join me through shrmedia.com, highplainstalkradio.com, and the Western Free Radio Network at Spreaker, YouTube, and iTunes for a different perspective weekly on the unpleasant blind guy. And catch me on Jeff Mitchell's EDL Radio on blogtalkradio.com. There's
no surrender ever.
Because truth is not always pleasant.
Hey guys, it's Sack Head CLINT. I'm excited to tell you about a brand new show here on the SHR Media Network. I'm teaming up with the one and only all-powerful, the bloviating Zeppelin, sitting here to my left, bringing to you a fresh new show here on the network. It's Against Tyranny, and we'll be picking up where the Sack Heads left off. Excited to be with you, sir.
Sack Heads Against Tyranny.
We're going to chat. We're going to chat Wednesday nights.
SHAT.
Sack Heads Against Tyranny.
Wednesday night, 11 p.m. Oh, it's the same time, right? 11 p.m. Eastern, 8 p.m. Pacific.
Same Sack time, same Sack channel.
Yep. SHRmedia.com.
See what I did there?
It's your business diva here, Melanie Collette. I am inviting you to a front row seat as I discuss some of the most intriguing details of wealth and finance with today's movers and shakers in the world of business. Listen in and discover financial truths on a global, domestic, and household scale. Uncover topics that will impact your wallet today and in the future. Money Talk with Melanie airs Monday through Friday, 5 p.m. East, 2 p.m. West, right here on SHR Media and High Plains Pundit Talk Radio. You can't afford to miss it.
Human by race, Christian by faith, American by nationality, and conservative by choice. Reverend Ralph J. Chittum Sr. is the right guy on SHR Media from 8:05 to 9 p.m. Monday through Friday. And if on the rare occasion I am ever wrong, I will still always be right. The right guy on SHR Media.
Hey, this is Michael Wright.
And I'm Shannon Wright.
Join us for The Right Way with Shannon and Mike, Monday through Thursday from 7 to 9 a.m. right here on SHR Media.
Why are they joining us?
For fun things like sports, politics.
Oh, maybe some news and entertainment?
And all kinds of other things.
Money and recipes and events, all kinds of stuff.
Yeah, so join us Monday through Thursday, 7 to 9 a.m. here on shrmedia.com.
Hey, BZ. So the plan's working. You got rid of Sacco. Sean is now stepping away.
I never even saw him.
And I know, and insidious. Insidious. You know, we talked about this for, for the last 3 years, and finally coming to fruition.
You know I'm still in the room, right?
It's almost like he's here still. Did you hear that?
Yeah, it's kind of...
It's amazing. It's kind of
at you.
It's kind of eerie.
Kind of a poltergeist.
Like a poltergeisty thing.
Yeah, Sack Heads Against Tyranny.
You're listening to the SHR Media Network.
Welcome back. It's the beginning of the second hour.
It's the beginning of the end.
Beginning of the end?
Yeah, the second hour is usually the ending of it's the second half. So this is now the beginning of the end.
You're leading us right into the beginning of the end itself. And this is how silly, stupid, and fattening, in my opinion, things are getting on the left. Here's a story from Politico. Now, Politico leans left, of course. Occasionally, they have something in an op-ed from some person who is a conservative. Primarily, they lean left. So here's an article, and I want your opinion on... God, you look good.
Are you looking in a mirror?
No, I'm looking at you. You're looking in the thing. You're smiling at yourself. Listen, if you can't smile at yourself, who the hell else?
I laugh at myself all the time.
Can you smile? Yes, well, you can't talk to yourself in the middle of the night in a closet. Then who the hell else can you talk to?
Thank you. Thank you.
Okay. So here's the gist of the article from Politico. It says Putin's attack, and this is the extent to which the rhetoric has risen. Putin's attack on the U.S. is our Pearl Harbor. Make no mistake, hacking. Now, I'm asking everybody, remember this article and then compare it to the article and the information that we're going to reveal at the end of the show. This article on Politico says Putin's attack on the U.S. is our Pearl Harbor. Make no mistake, hacking the 2016 election was an act of war. It's time we responded accordingly. On December 7th, 1941, the Imperial Japanese Navy launched a surprise conventional attack against the U.S. Pacific Fleet moored at Pearl Harbor. The Japanese operation was part of a larger strategy, cripple the United States in capability, naval manpower, and mentality, so that we would be prevented from interfering as Japan continued military operations throughout Southeast Asia. Almost 3,500 Americans were killed or wounded. 8 U.S. battleships were damaged and 4 were sunk, and more than 300 aircraft were damaged or destroyed to this day. The wreckage of the USS Arizona is a monument to loss of life and totality of destruction. The attack happened without a declaration of war and without explicit warning, and President Franklin D. Roosevelt responded the next day. Many think of Pearl Harbor and September 11th in terms of overwhelming devastation, the attacks caused rather than the critical transformation they sparked. Then he goes down, and here's where the rubber meets the road. In 2016, our country was targeted by an attack that had several operational objectives and a different overarching strategy. But its aim was every bit as much to devastate the American homeland as Pearl Harbor or 9/11. The destruction may not send pillars of smoke into the sky or come with an 11-digit price tag, and there's no body count or casualty statistics, but the damage done has ravaged our institutions and shaken our beliefs in our immovability. 2 years on, we still haven't put any boats or men in the proverbial water. Stop. What is that an advocacy of, Sack Heads CLINT?
War.
Yes.
Yeah. No,
this is the point. In order to win the fucking argument, now leftists are willing to engage in advocacy of World War III, which is exactly what it would be. It wouldn't be dropping a bomb on Moscow. It wouldn't be a couple of 500-pounder conventional bombs down an industrial chute. It would be all-out fucking nuclear war, and that's what leftists are advocating now. This is how insane their rhetoric has become. They want nuclear war, or they want to push nuclear war so they can win the fucking argument about Trump and Russia.
Well, I think it goes. So I think it have a different. I agree with you. I think they're fucking. They're ridiculous. But I take issue with this particular argument that they're comparing this with Pearl Harbor. Everybody is engaged in cyber warfare. There is no way that anybody can tell me that Russia, maybe they hacked, they didn't hack, whatever they hacked, that we're not hacking shit. The Chinese aren't hacking shit. The Russians are hacking shit. Everybody is engaged in cyber warfare.
That's what Rand Paul said yesterday.
Okay? Everybody is engaged in information gathering, us included. That being said, to compare something that everybody is engaged in, and I'm not saying that makes it right, but I'm saying that it's a pretty even playing field.
But Senator,
to make that parallel between Pearl Harbor, which is something that's very personal to me. My family is from Hawaii.
Yes, we know that.
My family had Pearl Harbor survivors. My grandfather was a Pearl Harbor survivor. His wife, my grandmother, was a civilian employee at a base as well. My other grandparents were going into church, and they could describe in vivid detail. I remember my grandmother describing in vivid detail walking into church and seeing the Japanese aircraft flying over, and one of the guys training a gun on her, and she remembers describing in detail the little glasses he had on, the little flight hat he had on, and that had a tremendous impact on them. So to have that and to see how that impacted the lives of the people who were there and afterwards, in terms of how they had to live on the island, not to mention the loss of life. I've been to the USS Arizona Memorial.
Yes.
I have seen the Utah Memorial. By the way, when leftists write about this, why don't they include both of the ships that are down there in a memorial? You can't see the Utah Memorial. It's not generally open to the public, but it is there. I mean, that sunken ship it is still out there as well on the other side of Ford Island. So it wasn't on the main battleship row, but that was never raised. There's still sailors down there entombed in that ship as well. So to compare that is disgusting to me. 9/11 was compared to Pearl Harbor, and rightfully so.
There was clear loss of life.
Yeah, so now you take something which was legitimately compared to Pearl Harbor, 9/11, and now you're comparing Pearl Harbor again, not to something as horrific as a terrorist attack, but to something that the Russians probably hacked us on some level. Everybody's doing it, right? Again, doesn't make it right, but it's a pretty even playing field in that arena. I would suspect. If not, maybe somebody has a little bit of advantage over somebody else.
But it delegitimizes Pearl Harbor and delegitimizes 9/11, and that's part of the point as well.
And that's my argument. That's why I take umbrage. And the left, certain segments of the left, do this all the time. And it tends to be the loud segments of the left. They compare Republicans and conservatives to Nazis. They compare the Trump presidency to fascism and Nazi Germany. They compare a cyber attack or any kind of cyber intel warfare to Pearl Harbor, to one of the greatest tragedies in our country's history. We fought a world war because of that, a surprise attack.
It suits their narrative, and that's why they're saying it.
No, they make it fit that. I disagree that suits the narrative. They make it.
No, you're
try
right.
And fit
you are
in
right
order for shock value.
You are right in terms of it's a crafted narrative
Yes.
by them. Yes, that is correct.
And it's disgusting to me. And you know what? We allow them to get away with this. Now, America as a whole, they may stand up and they may show up at election time and put Donald Trump into office. But nobody calls them on their bullshit on a regular basis. Because people are too good. And I don't mean they're too good like we should be nastier to each other or anything else.
No, Americans are generally a very good and generous people.
Americans are good and generous. And most Americans don't want to stand up and get in somebody's face and say, you know what, you're full of shit, knock it off. That's ridiculous. Because then they get shouted down as a racist or a Nazi, or you're in cahoots with pick your group, whoever's offended or whoever they want to try and tie you to. And nobody wants to go through the bullshit of being called a racist or of being called a fascist or anything else. So they just shut up and they're just like, whatever, you guys are stupid. They have their own thoughts and they go about their day.
And then this is what they do. In November of 2016, they walk into a booth and very quietly they vote.
They do. And this is why this kind of shit is why I think Donald Trump is going to get reelected.
I completely concur.
This is the kind of shit, which is why I think the Democrats are going to lose seats in the House, and this is why I believe the Republicans are going to maintain control, the Democrats are going to lose seats in the Senate, and the Republicans, I believe, are going to maintain. If things are going the way they're going right now, I think the Republicans are going to maintain control of the House. Obviously, that could change if something happens, some big information comes out of it. But right now,
there's a lot more. But yes, I see what you're saying.
Yeah, and it's because of this garbage.
Let me read you a little bit more of the story.
And I'm sorry, BZ, and I do want to hear more, but I want to point to this as evidence of what I'm saying to be true.
Okay.
Look at who won their primaries. They were people who were backed by Donald Trump.
Yeah.
Look at the senators that don't want to vote against Kavanaugh because they'll lose their seats for going against Trump. These are Democrats that are in red states, or that states that voted for Trump and that Trump won handily.
Did you see that basically Manchin told Schumer to blow it out his butt?
Yes.
Basically?
Yes, I did. And so this is my point. And it's I point to those examples as evidence to support my thesis of, hey, if the elections were held today, this is what I think would happen. So I'd like to hear more of the story, BZ. I'm sorry.
Well, that's okay. You had a point to make, and it's an extremely valid point. I want to go back on, though.
Yeah.
I want to reiterate this phrase in the article, but 2 years on, we still haven't put any boots or men in the proverbial boots or men in the proverbial water.
Why are they sexist?
This is a call to war.
Why men?
And so when you make a call to war in terms of two nuclear-armed countries, the only conventional wars are gone. They're out, unless they're in littoral waters or they're little conflicts, etc. But this is war. If you do this to Russia, there will be war. Then the article continues by saying, piece by piece, name by name, one operational detail after the next, Special Counsel Robert Mueller's investigation has documented that the Russian attack on the American homeland and the American people was every inch organized, expansive, penetrating, and daring as that Japanese run on our fleet or bin Laden's plan to use civilian airliners as weapons.
Wow. Look at that, 9/11.
The further this assault on our independence recedes into the past, the additional suggestions by anyone that it didn't happen, the more deeply entrenched the adversary becomes in our terrain. Now I'd like to read an opposing article. Let's see if I can find it here. Actually, it was from a statement from Rand Paul. The more I've been listening to Rand Paul the past 2 days, the more I'm liking what he's seeing. And Rand Paul, who is a libertarian with a big L, big L, there we go.
Big L.
Not little L, I'm a little L libertarian. But the libertarians can go to hell when they talk about free drugs and open borders. I completely disagree with that.
Yes.
Little L for me. Rand Paul says, though, and I don't think I have the audio cut for it, on Russian meddling, he says we all do it. Senator Rand Paul discussing Russia's interference in American 2016 presidential races claimed Sunday that all countries meddle in foreign elections. I think really we mistake our response if we think it's about accountability from the Russians. They're another country. They're going to spy on us, the Kentucky Republican said on CNN's State of the Union, a day before President Donald Trump's scheduled meeting with Russian President Vladimir Putin. We're going to do the same. So what do we know about that? We know already, clearly, that no one wants to tell you about or remind you is that Obama's administration sent hundreds of thousands of dollars across the sea over to Israel to make sure that that money was applied to anybody against Benjamin Netanyahu. Now, you tell me in what form or in what person's country or in their head is that not meddling in an election?
No, you're 100%.
It's election meddling. What did we do? People hack the crap out of the U.S., like you pointed out at the very beginning of the show, all the damn time. Mm-hmm. And it's not just Russia. It's China. Hold that thought. It's North Korea. It's any bad actor that doesn't care for Western culture or civilization.
I would,
and those are the two biggest actors against us right now.
I would venture to say it's more than that. I would venture to say that there's intel gathering against the United States, even by our allies.
Oh, hell.
You think Great Britain is not engaged or Germany?
Remember when it came out that under Obama's administration, we were tapping the phones of Merkel and Germany.
Yes.
That didn't happen under Trump, boys and girls. That happened under the loving arms of Barack Hussein Obama. Mm-hmm. So this narrative is one of bullshit.
Yes.
Everybody hacks. Now, it doesn't make it right. I'm not saying, hey, fine, hack away. On the other hand, What you're not going to hear is the amount of times that we hack everybody else.
Correct.
Or that our systems in America and in corporations get hacked all the time.
I'll do you one better.
Stop it.
I'll do you one better.
I've had
VZ.
my credit card
VZ.
hacked 4 fucking times in the past 3 years.
I'll do you one better. Or that they don't hack you. You think the government doesn't store your text messages or your phone call records?
Oh, my God, that's opening another.
Or have access to your Alexa cameras, or go into, if you have Alexa in your home, do this.
Yeah, shoot yourself in the head.
Go into your settings and look at all of the recorded clips that are stored on there. Everything.
God, get out of my
stored.
head. I just read an article today about how you can do that, and it keeps everything. All those questions that you ask Google, by the way, folks, if you didn't know that, it's there. It's being kept.
It's stored. You actually have to physically go in and delete each one, at least for the Amazon one, each one by hand.
And you have to do that with regard to Google. There is a way to do it, and I think it's probably about time that I make that article and put it out on bloviatingzeppelin.net so everybody can see how to do it. But that's the article. That's interesting. My wife brought this article to me, and I saw it, and I went, that needs a post. Mm-hmm. Right there.
So governments are doing it. Corporations are doing it. It's happening to you. That's not a conspiracy theory.
Well, wait. Under the Obama administration, Brennan tapped the phones of Congress. No one remembers that conveniently. Or they tapped the phones of Cheryl Atkinson.
Didn't a president
and also the journalist, God, I can't think of this guy's name.
Didn't a president have to resign for burging a place in order to get intel on?
Yeah, that would be in the 70s.
I don't remember who that was.
Yeah, but all of that crap occurred under Barack Hussein Obama, not Donald Trump. Just thought I'd point that out as well.
But you're not going to hear that anywhere.
No, you're not.
You're not going to hear
because the LDAM rules all. That's leftists, Democrats, and American media maggots. Mm-hmm. And that's their job. Their job is they are the media cats in the big sandbox. And when they see a lump of shit, their job is to cover it up. Oh, lump of shit over here from the leftists. Go over there. Cover it up. Come on, kitties. Meow, meow, meow. Cover. That's the job of the LDAM. That's what they do. And they're damn good at it. The problem is that there's this thing called the internet.
But who searches it for that? They don't. People search it for Pinterest. I'm going to use the internet for shopping at Amazon. I'm going to look for my movie times. That's what people use the internet for.
Yeah.
Oh, I can't remember the name of that one actor. Hang on, let me look it up.
Yeah. Hey, can I play this cut for you?
Sure.
This audio cut?
Sure.
Because I'd like to go back in time during Barack Hussein Obama. And if you want to talk about collusion with Russia, does anybody at all remember this?
My last election, yeah. And after my election, I have more flexibility.
This is Obama saying, this is my last election. After my election, I have more flexibility. If that isn't collusion with Russia, I don't know what is. Because he's not talking about, we're going to sell you some books. And he's not talking about,
his time in yoga.
Yeah, you might win something on the Reader's Digest Award. He's talking about a missile program and being more conciliatory towards Russia in terms of a missile program. But wait, there's more.
I understand. I transmit this information to
And Medvedev, who was the president at the time, said, I understand. I will transmit this information to Vladimir, meaning Vladimir Putin. And then what you don't see in the video is you don't see Barack Hussein Obama reaching over and patting the hand of President Medvedev, who's nothing but a sock monkey for Vladimir Putin. And let's not forget this. During the 2012 election, this is what Obama happened to tell Romney. Oh, what happened?
Governor Romney, I'm glad that you recognize that al-Qaeda is a threat. Because a few months ago, when you were asked what's the biggest geopolitical threat facing America, you said Russia. Not al-Qaeda, you said Russia. In the 1980s are now calling to ask for their foreign policy back because the Cold War's been over for 20 years.
So wait, it's Russia wasn't a problem. in the Obama administration, except that Russia was the problem in the Obama administration, because I should care to remind everyone that all of this stuff, the hacking, etc., the meddling, the electioneering of Russia, according to what people are saying, that happened under Obama. Well, let's not forget this one additional cut as well. Who asked for the Russian reset to make things smooth for Russia and the United States of America? Oh, it was Secretary of State Hillary Clinton, wasn't it? Yeah.
In anticipation of this important meeting and our time here together, I wanted to present you with a little gift which represents what President Obama and Vice President Biden and I have been saying. And that is, we want to reset our relationship. And
let's do it together.
So we will do it together, okay?
Yeah, and remember how funny that was, except the translation on the button was absolutely wrong, and the ambassador told her that at the time. And funny, when you look at that button, it looks like a nuclear button. It's in a yellow case with a red button. And that was Obama's administration, Clinton as Secretary of State, making with Russia. That's okay, because it was Obama doing it and nobody else. That was fine. That was nifty. Nobody remembers.
We do.
I do.
I do.
You do.
Yep.
We do.
Our listeners do. We're up against a break.
We are. When we come back, we have more buttery goodness. We have Kavanaugh. We have a lovely little cut about how the wing of the leftists are going even further left. And then we've got the final story that I want to talk to everybody about.
We should have played that cut earlier when we were on that topic.
Yeah, but that's okay. We can go back to it, because that's why God creates computers. And
we can do whatever the hell we want on our own show.
Well, that's right. That's why it's our own show. Folks, this time I'm going to say the right thing. Come back.
Thank you.
Conservative media done right. You're listening to the SHR Media Network.
Hey, it's Sean from the Sack Heads radio show. Also one of the owners here at the SHR Media Network. Are you opinionated? Have you ever wanted to do your own show? Have you ever heard somebody like the Sack Heads and go, yeah, I could probably do that better? Well, now's your chance. Send me a 5-minute clip at sackheadsradio@gmail.com, and maybe you can be part of the SHR broadcasting team. sackheadsradio@gmail.com.
Broadcasting behind enemy lines in occupied California, a mere 2 miles from the state capitol, the bloviating Zeppelin's Berserk Bobcat Saloon radio show can be heard every Tuesday and Thursday night at 8 p.m. Pacific and 11 p.m. Eastern, only on the SHR Media Network. Go to shrmedia.com to listen. You can also watch on the SHR Media Facebook page and the SHR Media YouTube channel. No goldfish were abused in the making of this ad.
When dirty politicians, shadow governments, and deceptive Islam blind the world with fake stream media smoke, their only fear is one man with a cane. I'm Dave Milner. Join me through shrmedia.com, highplains.talkradio.com, and the Western Free Radio Network at Spreaker, YouTube, and iTunes for a different perspective weekly on the Unpleasant Blind Guy. And catch me on Jeff Mitchell's EDL Radio on blogtalkradio.com. There's
no surrender ever,
because truth is not always pleasant.
Hey guys, it's Sack Head CLINT. I'm excited to tell you about a brand new show here on the SHR Media Network. I'm teaming up with the one and only all-powerful, the bloviating Zeppelin, sitting here to my left, bringing to you a fresh new show here on the network. It's Against Tyranny. And we'll be picking up where the Sackheads left off. Excited to be with you, sir.
Sackheads Against Tyranny.
We're going to chat. We're going to chat Wednesday nights.
SHAT.
Sackheads Against Tyranny.
Wednesday night, 11 p.m. Oh, it's the same time, right? 11 p.m. Eastern, 8 p.m. Pacific.
Same Sack time, same Sack channel.
Yep. SHRmedia.com.
See what I did there?
It's your business diva here, Melanie Collette. I am inviting you to a front row seat as I discuss some of the most intriguing details of wealth and finance with today's movers and shakers in the world of business. Listen in and discover financial truths on a global, domestic, and household scale. Uncover topics that will impact your wallet today and in the future. Money Talk with Melanie airs Monday through Friday, 5 p.m. East, 2 p.m. West, right here on SHR Media and High Plains Pundit Talk Radio. You can't afford to miss it.
human by race, Christian by faith, American by nationality, and conservative by choice. Reverend Ralph J. Chittum Sr. is the right guy on SHR Media from 8:05 to 9 p.m., Monday through Friday. And if on the rare occasion I am ever wrong, I will still always be right. The right guy on SHR Media.
Hey, this is Michael Wright.
And I'm Shannon Wright.
Join us for The Right Way with Shannon and Mike, Monday through Thursday from 7 to 9 a.m. right here on SHR Media.
Why are they joining us?
For fun things like sports, politics.
Oh, maybe some news and entertainment?
And all kinds of other things.
Money and recipes and events, all kinds of stuff.
Yeah, so join us Monday through Thursday, 7 to 9 a.m. here on shrmedia.com.
Hey, BZ. So the plan's working. You got rid of Sacco. Sean is now stepping away.
I never even saw him.
And I know, and Insidious. Insidious. You know, we talked about this for, a good, for the last 3 years. And finally coming to fruition.
You know I'm still in the room, right?
It's almost like he's here still. Did you hear that?
Yeah, it's kind of...
It's amazing. It's kind of
at you.
It's kind of eerie.
Kind of a poltergeist.
Like a poltergeisty thing.
Yeah, Sack Heads against tyranny.
You're listening to the SHR Media Network.
Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, children of all ages, it is the final 25 here on the Sack Heads Against Tyranny Chat Show. As we broadcast from Sacramento, Fornicalia. The streets of Sacramento are not quite as full of shit as the streets of San Francisco, which was a great TV show in the 70s.
Streets of San Francisco?
The Streets of San Francisco?
Oh, the Streets of San Francisco.
Okay, I'm going to show how old I am. Streets of San Francisco with Carl Malden, the guy with the big nose. It was a cop story, and they're both detectives. And an early, very, very early... Michael
Bublé. Bolton. Jackson.
Michael Douglas.
Oh.
It was his first TV role.
Really?
Actually, it was the role that really catapulted him. Michael Douglas playing with Carl Malden with the big old nose. Carl, yeah, I know. I'm showing my age.
Was that when Dirty Harry was on the force too? Or was that even predate? Was Dirty Harry a rookie?
That actually was, I think that was right around the time of Dirty Harry, or may have even predated Dirty Harry. I'm thinking it was a Quinn Martin production, but I'm not quite sure of that. During the break, Sackheads Clint, I almost called you Sean. Sorry. Sackheads Clint and I were talking about, hey, I got a couple of audio cuts that I'd like to play. One of them is where Trump rakes Germany over the coals for being beholden to Russia. And then the other one is a response by President Trump to everybody that says, I'm obviously licking the cornhole of Russia. And then he points to some facts, and damn those facts. But first, this is Trump addressing folks in Russia during the NATO summit. And damn him for speaking the truth on this one. This is so sad.
I think it's very sad when Germany makes a massive oil and gas deal with Russia, where you're supposed to be guarding against Russia, and Germany goes out and pays billions and billions of dollars a year to Russia. So we're protecting Germany, we're protecting France, we're protecting all of these countries, and then numerous of the countries go out and make a pipeline deal with Russia, where they're paying billions of dollars into the coffers of Russia. So we're supposed to protect you against Russia, but they're paying billions of dollars to Russia, and I think that's very inappropriate. And the former chancellor of Germany is the head of the pipeline company that's...
Listen to that. A former chancellor of Germany is the head of the pipeline project. Not like they're making any money on that or anything.
...supplying the gas. Ultimately, Germany will have almost 70% of their country controlled by Russia with natural gas. So you tell me, is that appropriate? I mean, I've been complaining about this from the time I got it.
Now, do you think that Barack Hussein Obama or anybody having anything to do with Barack Hussein Obama during that administration would have the cojones to say that to Germany.
No.
The truth needs to be, you need to speak, there's a phrase called speaking truth to power. That's power, speaking truth to power.
Yes.
And that's what needs to be done.
And that's why I like Donald Trump.
That's why I like Donald Trump.
I don't agree with everything he does.
I
think he's a freaking knucklehead on Twitter half the time. More than half the time. He is. He's stupid.
Let's be honest, exactly.
He is. He's a knucklehead. If he can get the hell off of Twitter, somebody should shut his account down. I don't want to silence the president. But, oh, my God, if he didn't tweet so much stupid crap, if he tweeted the good things he was doing, if he tweeted stuff like that, oh, my God.
But you got to take the bitter with the sweet, and I recognize that.
You do.
I've been dragged kicking and screaming into the corner of, and I'm going to say this out loud, and people can take me to task for it, and if you do, that's fine, blow me. But that's this. I am a results guy. Mm-hmm. I'm an I don't give a fuck what he says guy, but I am in the category now of being a results guy because the LDAM has pushed me there. And I'll admit it. And how we get there and what he says, I'm going to judge him on his results. Because for the first time, we have a president who's keeping his promises.
He is. He is going down and he's keeping his campaign promises. Look, say what you will about Trump, but you look at the economy here at home. You look at what people have in terms of disposable income now. You look at unemployment rates among pick your group of people, and the companies that are staying here in our country, and his take on America's position in the world, particularly with NATO, the United Nations, and you can't. I mean, you can deny it. If you think those things are bad, then you can legitimately, I suppose, have an opinion that President Trump is doing a piss poor job. But if you look at those things objectively, then you really can't take that away from the guy. I mean, you can attack him on, Stormy Daniels. Was he a good husband? I don't know if he's a good husband or not.
That's between he and Melania.
That's between him and his wife, and he shouldn't lie about it, like Bill Clinton lied about getting a blowjob. But that's between the spouses, and yes, you don't want the leader of the free world acting that way. And that's one thing I will say about Obama. He seemed, I've said this all along about the man, he seemed like he was a good husband to Michelle. And
he was a good father to the kids,
and a good father.
Sure.
Yeah, and
you're going to say that.
I am, absolutely, and a good father to those girls. I never heard anything about President Barack Obama going out and acting like a complete ass and cheating on his wife and doing some of the things that John Kennedy did and other presidents have done. He seems like, I have the positive opinion of President Obama that he was a good family man, a good husband, and I disagreed with his views, obviously, on
almost every policy. But that was a policy thing.
But that's a policy thing, and we can have those arguments. But
I didn't hate the man. I hated his stance and his philosophy and his policies.
Exactly. So
the man was fine.
Yes, I believe that he is probably a good man. I believe that about him. I believe Donald Trump is a good man just because of all the stories you hear about how he's helped people and so forth. Is he a good husband? I don't know. I can't judge that. He may not be. Has he said some stupid stuff? Of course he has.
Yeah. Do we know that the allegations about him and his wife and affairs, blah, 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 do we know that they're true? I don't.
I don't know.
And if she doesn't like him, after he's gone or whatever, divorce him. You're going to get $1 billion out of that anyway. And I couldn't care less about the relationship between Trump and his wife anyway.
But
that's not what I pay him for.
Yeah, right. But the thing is Trump's policies are sound.
And the net results. What are the net results that we get? That's why I pay my taxes.
And if Peter Stroker were an honest man and he did love this country, and he sees the position that the country is in now in terms of economic strength, in terms of jobs, in terms of our position on the world stage, and where the president is trying to put us in a position of power. how can he say he loves America when he's trying to tear all that down? And I believe when in my opinion his personal bias clearly has tainted the investigation to where he's saying he's not going to let him be president. He's not going to let that happen. We'll stop it. Who are you? You're a fucking FBI agent, you jackass. You're sworn to protect and defend the Constitution of the United States and serve the people. And who the fuck are you to say that you're going to stop an election from happening or you're going to try and stop somebody from becoming power when that's the will of the people or that's how the Electoral College works out to be? Because that, in my opinion, is treasonous. Not what Trump said this weekend, but that I will stop that from happening or we won't let that happen or whatever the hell the direct quote is on his tweet. How is that not treason?
I've said this for quite some time. What we are seeing is a soft coup against a president-elect, a presidential candidate, a president-elect, and a sitting president. Further, with regard to Peter Strzok, as Dan Bongino says.
Peter Stroker.
That's
Peter Stroker.
Peter Stroker.
Thank you. That's the SHR name for
him. As he calls him. Now, let me throw this out there. Peter Stroker says he's not biased. Let me substitute a name, and then you tell me, you, Clint, and people listening live right now, substitute your name, or people listening in podcast, substitute your name for Trump. And let's say you're in court and this guy potentially could be on a jury. Now, substitute the name Sack Heads CLINT for Trump in everything that this guy thinks about you. Now, would you seat that individual on a jury?
Of course not.
And could you possibly consider, as he says, and his argument would be to the judge and to the attorneys, look, I'm not biased. I can sit here and be completely apolitical and unbiased because I say so.
You know what? Look, here's how I'm going to answer that. I would not put him on that jury because of his remarks, his tweet of, we'll stop it. It won't happen. We won't let that happen, or whatever it was. In essence, stating that he will not let that happen, meaning President Trump becoming president.
I've already written that I will stop you.
Correct.
You are the defendant.
Correct.
I will stop you.
Yes.
And I've written that hundreds of times before I even stepped into the courtroom. But that's not bias.
Now
I said it's not bias.
So I will say this now. Does everybody have a particular political opinion or an opinion on something? Of course they do.
Right.
Does that mean that somebody cannot objectively look at a set of facts and make the proper decision? Of course not. Because every jury in the world, every cop, every attorney, every judge has to look at a set of facts, and even though they have personal opinions, particularly cops, need to be able to put your personal political affiliations beside and protect the Black Lives Matter protest, protect the Socialists of America protest, protect the NRA protests.
You uphold the law.
And that's my point.
That's my point. The law.
So are there cops, and I know the FBI is not real cops, but there are people in law enforcement. Every one of them has a personal opinion, and the overwhelming majority are able to set those opinions aside.
Right.
And
because you're paid to do the job.
Correct. But
that's where you get your money from.
But those cops aren't going out saying, you know what, I'm going to stop this group from voicing their First Amendment rights during Name the Protest, right? Or, you know what, I'm going to do everything I can to put this person in jail, and I'm going to stop them from going about their daily, or whatever it is. That's the difference between Peter Stroker and anybody else you'd put on the jury.
Or you're saying in public, in a public venue, or it's found out that you're saying, by the way, I'm going to do everything that I can in my power and my authority to make sure that Black Lives Matter explodes, and to impede them within all of my authority. I'm going to do that to make sure that they can't do this, they can't do that. Now apply that to any other agency, any other setting.
Yeah.
And of course, Peter Strzok has no bias whatsoever.
Yeah, none. And I'll tell you right now, if there was somebody that came out that said, I'm going to stop Black Lives Matter from doing X, Y, or Z, and Black Lives Matter could lawfully do X, Y, or Z, as much as I disagree with that group, I am going to stand up and defend their right to spew.
Defend the law.
No, I don't have to defend the law. But what I'm saying, I'm SHR Sack Head CLINT. I can do whatever I want. But in this capacity as well, I will stand up and protect their right to spew their venom, because I believe they have a First Amendment right to stand up and spew the absolute hateful garbage that they spew.
Until it gets to the point where you start impinging on the rights of other people.
Absolutely.
Blocking things and violence.
Absolutely.
Which is where the violence is going to get turned up geometrically.
It will.
Guaranteed.
It will.
This summer.
And I'll tell you right now, if somebody is out there trying to shut down that group or the Democratic Socialists or whatever from exercising their First Amendment rights, their lawful First Amendment rights, I will stand with them, not in their message, but in their ability to put that message out.
That's correct.
Until, like I said, they're calling for killing whoever or whatever it is. Their once that message
and
crosses
that's what
that line.
somebody who supports the First Amendment does.
Yes.
Now let me go back. Let me play this this is from Trump saying that if you think that I'm against Russia, what about all these other things that I happen to do?
We are doing very well. We're doing very well, probably as well as anybody has ever done with Russia. And there's been no president ever as tough as I have been on Russia. All you have to do is look at the numbers, look at what we've done, look at sanctions, look at ambassadors not there, look, unfortunately, at what happened in Syria recently. And I think President Putin knows that better than anybody, certainly a lot better than the media. He understands it.
Trump killed Russians. Trump killed Russians in Syria. Here's another thing that Barack Hussein Obama refused to do. Trump provided arms to Ukraine.
Yep.
Obama wouldn't provide anything to Ukraine. Nothing.
And he's not happy about it, and he shouldn't be happy about it, because there's never been a president as tough on Russia as I have been.
That's absolutely correct.
But you know what? But Trump has Putin's respect.
Because he knows that he's not going to be bullied.
Look,
it's the nature of bullies, for fuck's sake, and leftists don't get that. They don't get it.
Look at how Putin treated President Obama on the world stage, and look how Putin treats President Trump on the world stage. You look at them standing next to each other at the press conference, and I'm not saying Putin was intimidated, because I don't think Putin intimidates. But Trump wasn't intimidated, and Putin wasn't having that bullyish stance. There wasn't that aura. Trump was very much standing on his own and in his own position of power and authority there with Putin.
Oh, and physically, Trump towers over Putin. Putin, it's commonly known, Putin is 5'5" and he wears lifts. Mm-hmm. It's as simple as that.
Yeah, and he's got a short man complex, I'm sure, which is why he wears lifts.
Yeah, blah, blah, blah.
But Putin is, like you said, is a bully, and I think as much as Trump has been hard on Russia for him in terms of policies and things that have happened, I think that Putin respects that. Putin came right out and said he preferred Trump in office, and I think it's because he respects strong leadership, not weak leadership. And I don't know. I almost think that Putin likes the game. I almost think Putin liked the spy versus spy, strong President Reagan against
Putin's background is KGB.
Yes.
He is a KGB guy, and he sources from the Soviet Union.
And he
wants to bring
fight.
the band back together again.
He does, but he likes the fight.
Yes, he does.
He likes the fight.
And if he could bring the USSR back together again, which I think is his ultimate goal,
I agree with that.
To recoup all those countries back together again,
that.
he would definitely do that. Now, the time is getting short.
You know what else is getting short?
Because I'm getting older and shrinking as the years roll on.
Putin. Go ahead.
Wouldn't that be correct?
I was going to say Putin.
As well, Putin. Okay. Here's the story that I want to get to everybody, and here's the story that I want to have you remember, and then tomorrow ask yourself if you heard anything about this. Because I kind of scraped far and wide to find this, which is why I read everything everywhere. And up to now, because I haven't looked at Drudge Report to see if this broke on Drudge or anyplace else, or even on Huffington Post for that matter. Now, you remember Peter Stroker testified earlier last week, and then he testified in private before.
Yes.
And we knew that there was going to be testimony by Lisa Page, his lover.
Yes.
So Peter Strzok was a married guy screwing Lisa Page. That's immaterial, but it's still, I loved it when Louis Gohmert said that, and that everybody in the House hearing just fucking erupted over that one. That was still fun. That's good, clean entertainment, for fuck's sake. Let's be honest. Then Lisa Page.
Did you look your wife in the eye and
Yeah.
while you were...
Was that not? That was great content. That was great entertainment. Anyway, Lisa Page testified, and she testified behind closed doors, mostly. She has not testified. You correct me if I'm wrong, but I don't think she's testified publicly yet because I haven't heard anything. I
don't believe so.
I could be incorrect. But now here's the story. Lisa Page confirms the Chinese, not the Russians, hacked Hillary's emails.
Wait, what?
Yeah. Let me say that again.
Yeah, say that again.
She says...
That was all over all the headlines for all the news agencies.
Right. She said it was the Chinese and not the Russians who hacked all of Hillary's emails, right? And so that's going to be trumpeted all across the fruited plain. Well, let's go into the story itself. Washington, Hillary Rodham Clinton's BlackBerry was hacked by the Chinese, according to Peter Stroker's mistress, Lisa Page, who testified behind closed doors about her role in Operation Crossfire Hurricane. While her boyfriend Stroker stonewalled Congress, Page was open to cooperating behind the scenes with Republican lawmakers. Ohio's Jim Jordan led the way in getting Page into backdoor meetings where she aided investigators in their probe of Page and Stroker's collusion against the Trump government. The embattled Page tossed James Comey, Andrew McCabe, Peter Stroker, and Bill Priestap, by the way, he's an FBI agent, works for the FBI, Priestap, among others, under the congressional bus, alleging the upper echelon of the FBI concealed intelligence confirming Chinese state-backed assets had illegally acquired former Secretary of State Hillary Clinton's 30,000-plus quote, missing emails, federal sources said. The Russians didn't do it. The Chinese did, according to well-placed FBI sources.
Look.
You going to hear that story tomorrow?
Oh, yeah. Oh, fuck yeah. All over the place.
Right.
Sacramento Bee,
top of the fold,
CNN,
every fucking
MSNBC. Oh, fuck, it's going to be on the ticker in New Times Square.
Right.
Absolutely. Yeah. Look, this is, I'm going to tie a story that you might not think should be tied to this together.
Well, that's why I love to listen to you.
I think that it's very interesting because I think that I do agree with the left in this one regard. I think there is a federal agency that needs to be shut down, and that is not ICE, but it is in fact the FBI. And I think that this call to shut ICE down is a side issue.
Misplaced.
Look, I think it's by design. I really do, because I think the FBI is under such scrutiny, and rightfully so. I think the FBI is so dirty.
It's a deflection.
I think the FBI is so dirty at the top level that they were, and I'm going to get totally conspiracy theory here. I think they were afraid of the Republican Congress saying, you know what, we're just going to fucking make the FBI disappear. We have too many alphabet agencies anyways, and let's look in the Constitution where it says we have the authority to fucking create this anyways. Oh, it's not there. So
there's more. There's more. Go ahead, make your point, but I say there's more.
Correct. So I think that they say, well, you know what? Let's call for ICE to be disbanded because we're throwing the immigration shit up against the proverbial wall right now, and let's kind of head that off at the pass. That's a connection that I'm going to make with my own conspiracy theory because the voices in my head actually have hashed it out, and it makes perfect sense to me. But look, if any agency needs to go away, I 100% support the Federal Bureau of Investigation ceasing to exist as an agency.
What you have to ask yourself is the bigger question, I submit, and that's this. Why are we finding... and we would never have found any of this shit out had Hillary Clinton been elected president.
Nope.
But what we're discovering now is that the FBI, the DOJ, lots of people in the FBI and lots of people in the DOJ have taken it upon themselves to attempt to overturn the rule of law in the United States. And the more it's being discovered that the FBI was complicit in getting an illegal FISA warrant on Carter Page, who, by the way, if he's this grandmaster scheming dude, why is Carter Page still out free, a free man walking the streets today, if he's the ringleader, the brilliant ringmaster of all of this collusion and Trump and Russia and the election? What we're discovering day by day, week by week, just confirmed again by Lisa Page, is the FBI is as corrupt as the day is long. The DOJ is as corrupt as the day is long. Just what Trump said about the intelligence agencies, though he walked that back as well. The NSA is corrupt as the day is long, and the CIA is as corrupt as the day is long. And I may have forgotten a few alphabet agencies, but hey, we're going to find that out a little bit later. So why the big pushback?
The IRS is corrupt as the day is long. Or was.
Well, was.
Particularly under
I don't know if
Lerner,
you heard about that, but there was a new article about the DOJ, or excuse me, about the IRS that came out. God, if I can find this. Conservatives cheer IRS rule change, shielding the donor lists from disclosure. So that was a good thing that occurred recently. Don't know if you heard about that. Conservatives on Tuesday hailed a move by the IRS to stop requiring certain tax-exempt groups, including politically active organizations such as the NRA, to identify their donors. That's a win. Why should you donate to any cause and your name and address should be out there in public? What you do with your own money is fucking private. Period. End of statement. That's the libertarian in me coming out.
No, that's the conservative.
And that's your First Amendment right to express what you think in terms of cash as freedom of expression.
Yep, absolutely.
Hello. So this article, Sack Heads CLINT, we're going to see much of that article tomorrow? I mean, it's going to get trumpeted. I'm sure it will, won't it?
Yeah, trumpeted. They'll downplay it and it'll be negative.
Yeah.
Because it's trumpeted. That's what the media does.
Yeah.
It was a good show.
Did we miss anything?
We missed a lot. We didn't even get to. We didn't freaking get to Kavanaugh.
No, we didn't.
Or James Comey saying vote Democrat.
Yeah, vote Democrat. Yeah, because
the socialist out of New York and her freaking sound
right,
bites.
And she says, let's see, what does she say? She says,
the Israeli occupation of Palestine.
Yeah, well, she says you need to. This is, by the way, socialist Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez saying that you need to blockade ICE offices, you need to blockade airports, you need to open them borders, and you need to remove bail, and we need to eliminate prisons. So that's going to work real well for the Democrats.
Do we eliminate prisons? Never mind.
Yeah. Well, hey, that's her goal. That's what she wants to do. Hey, just eliminate prisons. Why not?
Next week.
Yeah, right. We'll do it that quickly.
Next week. We got no more prisons. Hey, look, it's working out well for us in California.
Yeah, it's working out well for Venezuela. It certainly worked out well for Cuba and the Marielitos in 1980.
Yeah, that's great.
Did you lip Cubans in jail like I did? No, that's a story for another day. Thanks again for listening. This has been the Sack Heads Against Tyranny radio show. It's truly a shat show from Shatramento, Fornicalia. On behalf of myself, Sackheads BZ, and
Sackhead CLINT.
We'll see you next Wednesday. I had a great time.
I did too. It was a good show.